So locust pose is a very accessible pose for a lot of students. You're just on your belly and you lift your hands and your feet off the ground. Your arms can be by your side or you can have them extended forward. I mean, there's a lot of variations you can do with your hands. And so let's see what some of those transitions were that were posted. Eve mentioned doing locust pose in sun salutation A and B to give variety to cobra up dog. Absolutely. So if you're in your sun salutation and let's say you walk back to your plank pose, rather than going chaturanga up dog, come all the way down to your belly, lift up in locust pose, and then come into an up dog, press back to your down dog. I like to do this and add a little bit of movement. So I'll have students come down to their belly, lift up, and then take little kicks with their feet. Do about 10 here, then lower down, lift to your up dog, press back to your down dog. So that's a great way to add variety to your sun salutation A's. And plus, it gets your students out of autopilot, right? Because sun salutations, they're very steady, like you're doing the same thing over and over again. And that's intentional, right? Because it's in your warm-up and you're trying to discover how your body feels that day. So that kind of, drives the rest of your practice. And so when your students get in that autopilot and they know exactly what's coming next, it's always nice to kind of spice things up for them and throw in some locust poses in between chaturanga and up dog. So thank you, Eve, for sharing that. And I think Britta also mentioned how she loves to do that too. Awesome. I use baby locusts during integration, great way to warm up the back. That's what Wednesday had said. And yeah, absolutely. So at the very beginning of class, you can definitely do that. Sometimes I'll even have students start on their belly for class. Like if my student comes in and they say like, oh, my neck is really tight today, I'll have them start on their belly with one ear down. And usually when you do like a seated meditation at the beginning, this would be seated meditation. So they do half of the time on one ear and half of the time on the other ear. And then you could come to the center. And then she mentioned just lightly lifting up. So you can have your hands here and just take little baby lifts to start to activate your spine and your glutes and your hamstrings. And then maybe lift up to tabletop and press back to child's pose, which I think is what somebody else had said. So awesome, Wednesday, thank you for sharing that. Fiona said she had a lot of transitions here, and this is really cool. Let me just go back over here, see if there are any comments coming in. Okay, welcome to those of you who just joined. We're going through our Transition Tuesday locust pose. We talked about headstand first, so you could just hit the rewind button and go back and see what we did for headstand. So Fiona mentions cat-cow, thread the needle, cobra, locust, sphinx, up dog, down dog, walk the dog, three-legged dog. So lots of stuff here that she mentions. Okay, so you've got your cat-cow flow here. You could then lower down to your belly, lift up locust. You can even do thread the needle here. If you were in sphinx pose, you could thread the needle here, bring one ear down, straighten through the other, come back to the center, do the opposite side, come back to center, and then maybe you lift up into locust again. And then she'd mentioned cobra pose. So you could even do that little flow of cobra lifts, and then maybe take a little break on each ear, and then lift up into locust, maybe do some kicks, and lower down. And then she also mentioned sphinx pose here, and up dog. So we had talked about up dog, lifting up locust, and coming to up dog, down dog, and then I think she said three-legged down dog from there. So that's a great flow that you can do, especially during warm-up, just starting to send energy through your spine and get your body warm. So great suggestions, Fiona. Thank you for sharing those. And let's see. Sonia said, I like to go into child's pose from locust. It's a great counter pose, plus you just have to either push straight back into it or widen your knees as you're pushing back into it. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're here in your belly and locust pose and you want to press directly back into child's pose, you might need to take your knees a little wide and then press back. I think it's fun to tell students, draw a line with your nose on your mat come all the way through to your belly, lift up locust pose, do the same thing going back jawline with your nose on your mat, because that's really going to activate through your triceps if you've ever tried that before, because it's quite natural to want to go from here, lift up, and press back. So then the real challenge becomes you're here. Can you stay low, 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 then press back into child's pose? So great transition. Thank you so much for sharing that one. And Claudia had like a whole sequence here. This was really cool. She said 3-legged dog to wild thing, drop down to Marichi Asana, then lowers her back, roll to your belly, and lift up locust pose. Exhale to dolphin, then tabletop, child's pose, half camel. All right, so let's see if I can remember all of that and go through it. So, let's see, she said down dog. You're here, 3-legged down dog. Transition to wild thing. Lower your bottom down to come into Mujjasana. She didn't say if it was A here or C, so we'll just demonstrate both of those. Then roll to your back, come over to your belly. Might need to readjust onto your mat. Lift up locust pose, and then I think you might need to go through like a sphinx pose, so lift up into your dolphin pose here. Lower down, she said tabletop, child's pose, then half camel pose. So for half camel pose, you can lift up, one hand comes behind, you can always place your hand on the block too. Lift up, half camel pose, I like to lower down and sweep, woo, lift up to the other side and lower down. So awesome transition and a whole sequence there, Claudia. So thank you for sharing a whole sequence that we could do with locust pose, so fun. Okay, so those were all of the transitions that came in for locust pose. Some other ones that you could do transitioning from locust pose is you could even go into bow pose and lift up here into bow pose. You could also go from locust, rolling kind of like Claudia had mentioned. So if there's room for your students, you could have them roll over, to a low boat, and roll back to locust, and then roll the other way to low boat, and come back to locust. So that's really going to activate all through your trunk region for that series. One of the things that I like to do like in a core warm-up is you can do locust pose here, and maybe take some kicks, then lift up, press back to down dog, walk or jump through, boat pose, lower down, take some kicks here for low boat, lift back up, cross, shoot your legs back, come to your belly, and take your locust pose with kicks again, and then do the same thing, lift up, down dog, come through, boat pose, lower boat pose, take some kicks, lift back up, cross, send it back and come to your belly, and repeat. So if you were to do 10 rounds of that with about 10 kicks on your belly, 10 kicks on your back, that'll definitely get you warmed up. So that's one of the transitions I like to do. I also like to throw it into sun salutations, as was mentioned earlier. It's just a great way to add variety into your class with the locust pose. You could even do it in your flow. I did that actually last week or 2 weeks ago. You have to ask Claudia, I can't remember which week it was, where I started in down dog. I lowered down to the belly. We lifted up for locust pose. We actually bounced behind. We held here for 5 seconds. Then we did 10 seconds of kicks, 5 seconds with feet together. We released, lifted up into side plank, brought foot forward for a low crescent twist, and then I think we spiraled up into warrior two. So that could be used at the beginning of your sequence. Don't feel like you can only use locust in the beginning or intentionally going down to your belly. You can also throw it into one of your standing sequences, and it could be a great mix-up from doing your chaturangas. So at the ends of the flow, I I just had students come down to their belly, and we lifted up, and we did the same thing again. Held for 5 seconds, kick for 10 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, release, lift up into side plank, step your foot forward, and then cartwheel open to warrior two. So I hope these transitions have been helpful for you. I'd love to see your thoughts. Feel free to add any comments in the chat or give me a thumbs up. Let me know what you're thinking. Maybe after seeing some of these transitions in action on the mat, now you've thought of one that might be really fun to do in your class. So feel free to add that into the comments so other teachers can see too.